Broadcasting from the Business RadioX studio in Nashville, Tennessee, it's time for Regions Business Radio Nashville. Regions Business Radio Nashville is presented by Regions Bank. Brave the beginning. Member FDIC.
Welcome to Regions Business Radio Nashville, presented by Regions Bank, member FDIC. I'm your host today, Kelley Kee, Executive Vice President with Regions, and we are broadcasting live from our Business RadioX studio set up inside the JW Marriott in Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome again to everyone as we continue our podcast series on key topics related to the Middle Tennessee and Nashville economy. We have a couple of guests with us today that will enlighten us on a topic that is extremely important to everyone in the country right now. We have Diane Spencer, a Financial Wellness Relationship Manager and Vice President with Regions Bank, and also Durham Pettigrew, Commercial Relationship Manager with Regions Bank as well. Diane, Durham, welcome. As we talk to customers on our calls pretty frequently, whether they're customers, non-customers, business owners in general, one of the things that we always ask them is, what's your biggest challenge right now? And invariably, we're always going to end at the same spot with the same answer. It's really around people. Yes, there are going to be supply chain issues with some of our customers. Yes, there's going to be rising costs of goods. Yes, there's going to be things that are impacting everyone. But the one thing that always comes back is people. Either I can't recruit them, I can't hire them, or I can't retain them. And so as you really think about those three phases of employment, the recruiting process, the hiring process, and the third one being the retention, no matter how good you are at the first two, if you can't retain your employees, obviously you're always going to struggle with having quality people. So Diane is here today to talk about some of the programs Regions Bank has to offer that can be shared with every business owner in an effort to become better at that third step, which is the retention. So Diane, welcome. Again, please give us a little bit of background on yourself and talk about a little bit what you do with Regions Bank.
Thank you, Kelley. I'm excited to be here with you today. So to answer your question, first, personally, I'm a proud daughter of an Army veteran, and I was born in Germany while my father was serving there. And once he retired from the military, we moved to Northwest Mississippi, and that's where I primarily grew up. Now, I'm a graduate of Christian Brothers University of Memphis, Tennessee, and I hold a bachelor's degree in psychology. I'm passionate about helping veterans and military families, so I am also actively serving on the board of directors for Operation Stand Down Tennessee as their immediate past president and a governance chair. Now, professionally, I have more than 30 years of banking and relationship management experience, and for over 20 of those years, I've had the pleasure of working for Regions. Unlike many of my Regions teammates, I've actually worked across multiple lines of business, from consumer banking, mortgage, HR training, as well as treasury management. But by far, my favorite role to date has been my current one as a Financial Wellness Relationship Manager, where I have the privilege of working with commercial clients, government entities, universities, and other organizations to help them create customized financial wellness initiatives for their employees or client base.
So Durham, as a commercial relationship manager for Regions Bank, why don't you talk a little bit about how you work with Diane on a daily basis?
So as my primary role as relationship manager, what I also have to do is help my clients find the right partners within the bank. And one of those partners is Diane Spencer. Obviously, with the Next Step program, they're able to offer a free resource to their employees, and I'd say it's a big value add for the company. It's a free resource.
Diane, tell us a little bit about Regions Next Step. Specifically, what can Regions do for business owners to help them retain their employees?
That's a great question, Kelley. And employee retention and engagement is top of mind with many employers, as it should be. For most businesses, their employee base is their greatest asset. Even before the disruption of COVID-19, finances were the top cause of employee stress. I often tell my clients that working for them is not the most stressful thing in their employees' lives. It's what they bring with them when they walk in the door. And with COVID-19 added to the mix, employee financial distress has intensified, with 45% of workers saying finances are a distraction at work. And we also know that prolonged stress will manifest itself physically, so eventually you'll either have a distracted employee, which can lead to errors, or an employee who's ill and no longer able to come to work. By partnering with Regions and implementing a customized financial wellness program, an employer could help redirect employees that are distracted by financial distress. And by providing employees with resources that positively impact their overall quality of life, you get a higher employee retention while strengthening the company brand. Now, Regions Bank is honored to have earned the Gallup Exceptional Workplace Award for 7 consecutive years. And this award is Gallup's highest honor, recognizing the most engaged workplace cultures at organizations worldwide. So even though we're a financial institution, we offer a financial wellness initiative for our own employees, and we call it Aspire. So I like to say we practice what we preach, Kelley.
Perfect. So not every business owner out there has a current financial wellness program for their employees. So for those that do not, what would be our next step if they were to engage Regions into that process?
That's good. Another good question. Good employee wellness plans focus on their employees' overall well-being, which equates to happier, healthier, more focused employees. And according to Gallup, there are 5 essential elements of well-being. The first element is about how you occupy your time or simply liking what you do every day. That's your career well-being. The second element is about having a strong relationships and love in your life, your social well-being. The third element is about effectively managing your economic life, your financial well-being. The fourth element is about having good health and enough energy to get things done on a daily basis, your physical well-being. And the fifth element is about the sense of engagement you have with the area where you live, your community well-being. Regions can help employers focus on that third element, financial well-being. The Financial Wellness Next Step program inspires and equips employees in our communities with personalized financial guidance, perspective, and tools. Next Step helps consumers break down financial goals into manageable and achievable steps so they can focus on excelling in the workplace and enjoying life.
So Diane, Regions has been offering the Next Step program for a number of years. I think you've led this for the last 10 years roughly. Can you share with us some of the recent improvements that Regions has made? I remember when we first rolled this out, it was just a checking account. And then it kind of morphed into something a little bit bigger, and now it's a full-blown program that we can offer.
Absolutely. We started in 2013 with 5 Next Step financial education seminars, and today we have over 20 instructor-led financial education seminars and workshops. And like everyone during COVID, we had to pivot with this program, and I'm happy to say that we did so very quickly. Since we were no longer able to conduct these sessions live and in person, we had to enhance our online financial education tools and resources, and we actually started offering virtual seminar events. Now, I'm proud to say that regions.com/nextstep is a website that's available to all consumers, even if they don't bank with Regions. And it contains a vast amount of financial articles and podcasts, over 60 calculators, downloadable worksheets for both consumers and businesses, as well as having some amazing financial education resources for children that educators and parents alike can utilize. Now, we're always working to ensure the information we share is relevant and timely. So we recently conducted a financial wellness survey and uncovered some significant and concerning numbers.
So can you share some of those results with us?
Sure. Our survey revealed that only 19% of Americans believe they are financially secure. So that means 81% don't feel financially secure, which is alarming. Only 13% believe they can achieve their financial goals, which is not surprising to me when you consider the fact that 60% of people don't follow a budget. Like many people, when I was growing up, personal finance wasn't part of the high school curriculum. So I learned about money management by watching what my parents did. I watched them cash their payroll checks on Fridays, and my father practiced the envelope method of budgeting. This was over 45 years ago. So I saw him take those funds, put them into envelopes, and when I asked him why he did that, he took the time to explain to me that there was a cost to having a checking account, and he could only write a limited number of checks before he'd be charged additional fees. And he pointed out that we drove right past Mississippi Power and Light daily, so it was really easy for him to step in there and just make that payment. Now, I'm grateful that my father took the time to explain his money management method to me. So that was really my first lesson in money management. What was yours, Kelley?
So, really one of my first lessons in managing money came at my grandparents used to own a farm. And as such, they really had to manage from when the money came in to when the money came out. It's not as cyclical as every 2 weeks you get paid in the farming community. So, you're going to get paid in the spring, you're going to get paid in the fall, when you harvest the crops, sell those. So, they had to take that money and really stretch it out over 6 months, 12 months. So if you spend all your money from the spring, guess what happens when you come time to plant for the fall? Well, you don't have any money. So no money means nothing goes in the ground. So that means, guess what? Now you have no money for the winter. And so really thinking about how you run those operations, not just, okay, I have X dollars in my account, but I have X dollars in my account, but this portion of that can't be used. And so, that's really one of the things that I've tried to teach, my kids the same thing, is that, a lot of people believe, hey, I've still got checks, so I've still got money. So that's not exactly the way it works. So, but really, one of the things I think is a big changer for my kids is forcing them to go into their online banking, let them take care of their own account, right? Don't come to me asking me for money. You tell me what you have. And I think giving them that responsibility has been one of the major players in teaching them how to manage their own money.
I love that. Well, so if our audience didn't learn how to manage money in school and their parents didn't teach them, then often people are self-taught, right? Our survey results further reflected that many people aren't effectively managing their cash flow, which is what you're talking about with your children, right? And might not be contributing to their 401k, which is why 35% of Americans think they will be able to retire comfortably. So that means the majority of them don't think they'll be able to retire comfortably. And that's sad to me because we work really hard. And it's, one of the things that you try to look forward to, right?
Well, as I said, I have 2 daughters, so I will never retire comfortably. So that's always going to be a constant battle for me.
That's funny. Now, many people I meet don't believe they have enough money to save at the end of the month, but the money management skills our Next Step seminars teach, they often find they can achieve more than they originally thought, which is critical because unexpected financial emergencies are a fact of life. And 76% of our respondents didn't feel confident or prepared to withstand that type of expense. So when you're stressed out about your finances, it's difficult to focus on anything else, including your job. And this all leads to a low quality of life, affecting the other well-being essentials I mentioned earlier, and negatively impacts the company's bottom line as well. Did you know that 83% of people say they had to tap into their retirement savings during the pandemic? The need for financial wellness has never been greater. And what sets us apart from other financial wellness programs is our ability to customize. We utilize an anonymous survey, which determines each employee's very own financial health score. Then we build a program utilizing our instructor-led seminars based on the collective financial health score results.
Now, you've mentioned this financial health score more than a couple of times, and I think when people think about scores, they automatically think credit scores, right? So if you have a credit card, they're all the time telling you, trying to sell you on this service, get your free credit score, whatever it happens to be, you can always get it. It's always talked about when you go apply for a loan. This is your credit score, credit card, anything like that. So what exactly is the financial health score?
Great question. The Financial Health Score is a simple, easy-to-use resource that allows you to get a snapshot of the financial health of your employees. It's an 8-question survey that focuses on indicators of financial health, such as how they spend, borrow, save, and plan. It provides an overall score of their financial health with tips on what areas to focus on for improvement, or provide them with additional information to enhance areas in which they're excelling. We use that data to build a customized financial program for each company that will meet the specific needs of their employee base. Another benefit to partnering with Regions on the Next Step program is that our bankers are a resource for the employees, even if they don't bank with Regions. An individual employee can meet with a Regions banker to review their individual financial health score, and we will provide guidance and perspective to help them develop a financial plan so they can achieve their personal financial goals. Regions Bank is one of the largest users of the financial health score model in the United States. When I work with a company to create a financial wellness initiative, we start by focusing on their recruitment and hiring process. You mentioned that earlier. There's an expense to offering employee benefits such as health insurance. However, the Next Step program is an added benefit of employment that we offer at no cost. Some companies introduce the Next Step program during their new hire orientations when they're reviewing their employee benefit packages. Now, secondly, we often create a series of Next Step educational seminars for their employees to participate in, and we offer both in-person as well as virtual options for delivery of those events. We also work with employers to ensure the sessions are offered at times that are convenient for their entire workforce, which means we offer multiple sessions on a financial topic. Thirdly, I look for other opportunities to partner with a company on their existing wellness initiatives or employee engagement events. I work closely with them to incorporate financial wellness into their corporate culture. Oftentimes, if we have a physical health issue, we seek out a second opinion or we do research on treatment options. But when it comes to our financial health, we don't give it the same priority. Yet the financial decisions or choices we make as it relates to our financial well-being can affect both our physical and mental health. Knowledge is power, and the more we can share financial knowledge with consumers, the better decisions they're able to make for themselves and their families. I often share with my team to remember that when we're conducting a Next Step seminar, our impact is far-reaching. It not only affects the individuals in that session, but also their children, spouses, partners, family members. One of our core values here at Regions is to put people first, and I get to do that every day with the Next Step program. Another Regions core value is to enjoy life, and I believe this program allows me to help employers and their employees to further enjoy their lives by giving them resources that enhance their ability to provide financial security for themselves and their families. You know, if we work together, we can increase that statistic of 19% of Americans that feel financially secure to a much higher number.
Now, Dan, what are some of the other programs, or some of the other topics that would be covered in this next step? I know you got 10 specific classes, or what would some of those others be? What would they really, I mean, is it buying a house, saving for retirement? What are some of the things that would be covered in that?
Well, there you go. You got two of them right there, Kelley. So the road to home ownership, where we talk about buying homes, and then I also like to work with companies to offer sometimes a second session, because for many people, they've already purchased their home, but they have questions about what they need to know now about refinancing. Maybe they bought their house 5 years ago. Here, if you bought it 2 years ago, it's going to be really different when you go to refinance it. We also have your credit report. We have smart money habits. I've got workshops on cash flow connection. So there's over 20 total. But what I love is when we do that survey, or when I'm talking to an employer, I'm asking them, do you have employees who are coming in asking for an advance on a paycheck? Do you have somebody who's borrowing against their 401k? That's telling me that they're struggling with some money management issues. And if I can teach them and help them learn to live within what they're making, they're less likely to walk into HR and ask for a raise in the middle of the year, right? Or to leave them for 50 cents or $1 more an hour to go down the road because something just happened. They just had a financial emergency situation that we talked about earlier that they weren't prepared to handle. And so their immediate thought is, well, I need more money and I need it now. And I'm going to go to my employer, and if I can't get it from them, I'll go down the street. But that's just putting a Band-Aid on the problem, really. If I can teach them or help them to get a better handle and make a plan and work on a budget, people don't like that word, so we like to call it a spending plan. If I can help them create that, it makes such a big difference in people's lives, and it shows them the things that they can do, not what they can't do.
Now, as we've rolled in, I think we've talked about this in the past, but the name, image, likeness piece that has suddenly become so Main Street on high school athletes going into college. I think I read somewhere they were paying somebody $8 million coming out of high school for a 4-year commitment. So I think that's actually Tennessee. That's going to be our new plan, is if we can't win on the field, we'll just buy our way to a championship, hopefully. But what have we done around that program? I know we've put some things together to help those kids as well.
Absolutely. We've created yet another seminar event, another presentation that we're going into college universities with first, and then also high schools that we're partnering with across our footprint. And so we actually are able to share information and even pulling in some of our private wealth partners. And, Durham mentioned that earlier, bringing in the right partners to help people where they are with what they need. So if I do a saving for retirement seminar, I might bring in a financial advisor to help answer questions that my bankers aren't able to answer. Same thing with this. These athletes are coming into a great amount of money. And so they need to know how to handle that money, and catching that on the front end and helping them with that and manage to that is so important. So yeah, we're on top of it. We're on top of it, Kelley.
Yeah, and in some cases, like with these football athletes particularly, basketball too, I guess, but they're making more money in a year as a 17, 18-year-old kid than maybe their families made their entire life. So they wouldn't necessarily have the skill set, no fault of their own, but they wouldn't have the skill set to understand how to manage that piece. So that's another important part of what we do. So Durham, I'll ask you, you worked with Diane on several of these with our commercial customers. How has that been received? Is that something that our customers are looking for, our non-customers are looking for? Yeah,
it's a huge selling point for me. Any company that wants to take advantage of a free resource, they do. So, and it's gonna vary between each type of company as well, where you have a subcontractor and they have a lot of new employees who are probably going to be more geared toward their first-time home buyer, or you're going to have a healthcare IT company who may be looking more at 401k. So it really depends on the company, but it's always going to be well received because it's a free resource and it helps them ultimately retain their employees.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, as having one child in college, one child that graduated in the last 2 years. This is not something that the public sector is teaching. So they are going to have to go outside of what their normal school programs would be to learn this. And Diane, I'm happy that Regions is able to play a part in that. Anything you would add or that we maybe haven't covered?
Well, one thing I guess I'd like to point out is, and Durham had mentioned this, and I know I mentioned this too, and when I was sharing, but the Next Step program, Regions offered this as a no-cost solution. But there is a cost to it. We're just footing the bill on it, right? And there are companies out there that charge for the service that we're offering for free. So that's something for people to keep in mind as well. There is an expense. There's a value. Sometimes when people hear no cost, they think, oh, it's free. How good could it be? It's awesome. And I would love the opportunity to meet with anyone and to share that program and do a digital demo and show them everything that we have to offer. Because I think when I do that, I know people are impressed with the resources that are available for them and for their employees. And the fact that employee benefits are very expensive to offer to their employees. And here's an extra thing that they can offer their employees that doesn't cost them or their employees anything. So I guess the thing I would want to just focus on there is there's a great amount of value to the Next Step program. I know people who are paying for that service. I mean, some of them are paying up to $300 per employee for a similar program that we do for free. So again, it's kind of like when we're teaching our seminars and we say, know what your options are, and then you can choose the best one for your family. So as people or companies are researching what kind of benefits they want to offer their employees, I encourage them to reach out to us and let us show them what the Next Step program is and see if that's something that fits within their culture, that fits within their wellness initiative. If they don't have a wellness initiative, we're happy to help them get it started with a financial wellness initiative. And then to kind of coach them, because I work with so many companies, on what I see out there other companies similar to theirs doing, and that they might want to incorporate in as well to help them recruit employees and retain them.
Durham, Diane, anything that you guys would add before we start to wrap up?
Kelley, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here and to share information about the Next Step program with your audience.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the important work that you guys do every day, helping to educate our workforce and certainly make them less dependent on more expensive options, and really spending the time with our business owners to help them retain and to attract high-quality employees at a reasonable, if not free, a reasonable cost. So thank you again, and I'd like to thank our listeners as well. Thank you for joining us at the Regions Business Radio Nashville, presented by Regions Bank, member FDIC. You can enjoy our episodes anytime by visiting businessradiox.com and selecting the Nashville studio, and then click on Regions Business Radio. This program is also available on multiple platforms on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts. Please be sure to subscribe to the program so you don't miss any of our future episodes. I'm Kelley Kee, and you've been listening to Regions Business Radio Nashville on Business RadioX.
Regions Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.